my name is Ashley and welcome back to my channel, Worth the Read, where we talk about books that are worth your time reading. I'm back. I've been on a reading slump slash work. It's summer camp now, so we're kind of busy. I haven't read a book since the last video you saw, and that was in April. I didn't read a book the whole month of May and majority of the month of June. I just kept on starting books and then really not feeling them, so I put them down. And I don't want to just make videos just to make videos. I want there to be some kind of content or things I'm talking about that I'm interested in. So my reading slump is officially over, and I've read 4 books in the last 3 weeks, which is excellent for me, you guys. You know I don't read that fast, or I can't read as much as I like to read because I work so much. So 4 books in the last 3 weeks is excellent for me. Excellent. So our first video back will be a Covers and Cocktails. This is a video series that I like to do for my adult books that I read. And let's get right into it. The novel that we're talking about today is Black Girls Must Die Exhausted by Jayne Allen. I absolutely loved this book. 5 stars. I think this is my first 5-star read this year. I'm pretty sure of that. 5 stars. This book was amazing. And for some people, the book may not be, it may not jump out to you as a 5-star read. It may just be good to you. But literally, this book was talking to me, about my friends, everything that's going on in my life right now. This book was step on. It could have been Ashley's name instead of the main character's name, Tabitha. The book was amazing. The book is based on a young Afro-American woman trying to maneuver through her life. She's in her mid-30s, 33, 34, same age. And she has a career as a news anchor. And she's kind of, in the beginning of the book, she's at a doctor's appointment and her doctor basically tells her, either you have kids now, you freeze your eggs, or you're deciding not to have children. And the first chapter, I was just like, okay, this is going to be this kind of book. This book is talking directly to me. She's 34, I believe, in the book. And she's in a relationship, but the relationship is fairly new. They've been dating for over a year, but she definitely knows it's not to the point where she should be talking about having a baby with this man. And she's kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place. She works hard. She's a news anchor. She's trying to get a head anchor position, but being the minority, it's hard to get the story she wants to be pushed. And she's saving to buy a house. So everything that you could think a woman should be going through at that time, Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, period, single women in 2019 are going through, this book talks about. It just happens to be a Black main character. What I loved about the book is it wasn't, the things that she was going through weren't unrealistic. They were so dead on. Okay, for example, the doctor told her that she needs to freeze her eggs. If she wasn't planning on having children right now, she needs to freeze her eggs. Now, she had been saving money to purchase a house. This book is based in LA, so of course it's expensive. So she's been saving money to purchase a house. But the cost to freeze the eggs would be around $20,000, which she was saving to purchase a house. So she was stuck with the dilemma. Do I freeze my eggs, spend this $20,000 that I've been saving to buy a house to freeze my eggs, in the instance that I want to have children in the future, or do I purchase a house, don't freeze my eggs, and cross my fingers that God will let me just have a kid and everything will work out? I'm 34 right now. I don't have any children. I do want children. If you ask me today, I would say I want children. If you ask me tomorrow, I might say I don't, because I work with children. But this is an issue that's going on. The topic in the book hits about health insurance and why health insurance doesn't cover, most health insurance isn't covering IVF, freezing eggs, things like that. And that's such an expensive process that most average people who are going through fertility issues can't afford to do. So that's another topic in the book. It was just a great book. I don't want to get too deep into the book because you know me, I start to ramble and I'll tell you every little detail, but please read this book. It reminds me of Sex and the City because she has her friends and her friends are all going through same normal life issues. This is not an unrealistic book. She's going through normal life issues. One of her best friends is married and she portrays to have this perfect marriage and her husband loves her and she has the 2 sons and her whole world revolves around her husband and her sons. And then she finds out a secret that kind of tears her world apart. And her other best friend is in journalism and she's working hard to be successful in this industry, but with pressure. She's still living with her parents. She moves back in with her parents and she goes through a mental breakdown. So there's aspects of this book that are so realistic that it made me have to stop and like process, because I felt like the author was talking directly to me and it was getting very personal, and it makes you reflect. If you are in this stage of your life when you're single, you're career oriented, but you still want to have a family, but you chose to wait a little longer, like you're in your 30s, a lot of the issues that we go through are being talked about in this book. This is why I gave this book a 5 stars. Nothing that happened in this book was not unrealistic. Nothing was far-fetched. She had an interaction, Tabitha, with a police officer, and her being a black woman and a white police officer, it caused her, just being pulled over, to have a complete panic attack, and she freaked out. And the officer kind of had to talk her off the ledge, like, I am not here to kill you, kind of conversation she had with the officer, which was very interesting. This author nailed it. When I tell you she nailed it, she nailed it. Read this book. If you are not at this stage in your life, read this book. If you are at this stage of life, be prepared mentally to read this book. But read this book. 5 stars across the board, an excellent book. Now, I know I told you it was an excellent book, but I wanted to give you some of the topics of the book. Police brutality was one of the topics of this book. Health insurance. Health insurance is a major issue in the United States right now. And why doesn't health insurance cover fertility issues for women? Now, if men had to carry babies, I'm pretty sure health insurance would cover anything that would help them have children. It seems like our system is geared more to men than to women, and we're just supposed to survive. Infidelity is covered in this book. Financial responsibility is covered in this book. Tabitha is saving for a house, and she's stuck with the dilemma of preparing for a future family, or spending her money that she's saving for the house. Career advancement is covered in this book. She's fighting to get a head anchor position against a guy, a Caucasian male, who in his mind has the job. Like, there's no debate about it. He has the job. But, and he's not working as hard, and he kind of downplays her, and all his stories never have the angle of people that things could happen to. Case in point, she wanted to write a story about, or do a report about gentrification, which is the topic in this book. And she wanted to play the angle of this new sports stadium is being built in this neighborhood that is moving the people of their neighborhood out of it because it'll be too expensive to live there. And he just comes in and is like, well, that's cute and all, but let's talk about the sports angle and push the stadium. And she never really fights for her job. She plays a very mild-mannered reporter when it comes to delivering her ideas and things like that. And she she plays second fiddle, and that's a thing that I know I do a lot, and I know a lot of my friends in the professional world do. I just think it's something, one, as women, we don't want to fight for what we want because we're portrayed as being aggressive, especially as Black women. We kind of play the more demure role because we don't want someone to say you're being aggressive or you're coming off as the angry Black woman. So that's the topic in this book. Mental health, taking care of yourself, knowing that it's okay not to be okay, and that sometimes you need help and you need to talk about things is a topic in this book. Relationships, communicating what you want in a relationship in the beginning so that people don't waste your time. When you hit your 30s and you're pushing on mid-30s, you don't have time to waste with people who just want to hang out, especially if you know you want a family. So that was a topic in this book. Family dynamic. Tabitha is, I guess you can say, a quarter white. Her grandmother is white. Her father is Black and white, and her mother was Black. So her grandmother, who she's named after Tabitha, is a white woman who fell in love with a Black man in the South and ended up having to leave because she got pregnant with her son, and they moved to California. And the dynamic between her and her mother, her grandmother, who basically raised her because she didn't want to leave her well, I don't want to get into too much detail, but her and her grandmother basically, she raised her, and her father really wasn't in her life. Her mom was, but her father divorced her mother and kind of started a whole new family, and she never really processed how that was going to affect her or how it affected her in her relationships with other men. And that's the topic in this book. It's funny, it's enlightening, it makes you want to reflect, and I love books like that. Definitely, again, a 5-star read. Just read it. This book is 100% worth the read. Now that we talked about the cover, Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, let's get into the cocktail. For this book, I decided to make a simple mixed drink and not use clear liquor. Let's go for brown this time, and that is Jim Beam apple infused brandy and ginger ale. So this is a very simple drink. I use 2 ounces of Jim Beam apple because, like you guys know, I like my drinks strong. You can use 1 ounce if you like, and the rest with ginger ale. You can garnish with an apple or a cherry or both. But this drink is very light, it's refreshing, it's not heavy. Most infused liquors, especially when they're fruit flavored infused liquors, they tend to be very, very sweet. So they use a lot of sugar. What I like about Jim Beam apple is, 1, it's not that expensive. 2, it's not super sweet. So it blends, the apple flavor blends very well with the ginger ale. And it's light, it's bubbly. It's not a knock you on your butt kind of drink, but it's a drink that you can pair well with light, summery, fresh food, fruits, salads, things like that. So that's our cocktail for today, Jim Beam apple. And that is our video today, guys. Thanks for hanging in there for my long gap. I'm currently reading A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallero. Yeah. This is a Sherlock Holmes Watson spinoff. It's pretty good so far. Thank you for watching. Try the cocktail. Let me know if you do. Let me know if you've read Black Girls Must Die Exhausted. This is one of the books I picked up for my over 400 pages that I wanted to read. The cover stood out to me. The title spoke to me. So I had to purchase it, and I would highly recommend it to anybody who's looking for a real life depiction of being single and working in the United States right now and dealing with life. That's it. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you've read the book. Let me know if you've read A Study in Charlotte or you're currently reading it. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Peace, love from Philly. It's worth the read. Bye.